Hey everybody, how's it going? Stoutman coming back at you once again, and today I've got some interesting stuff to show you. I recently picked up, I didn't really have the money for it. Like, I didn't have any money saved away for it. It was money that I was trying to save up kind of and not spend, but it's not every day that you come across a sale like this, so I kind of had to take advantage of it. Like, you can always expect a Criterion sale 2 or 3 times out of the year, and you typically know when it's going to happen. You're like, okay, so this is going to be the time when they do the Criterion sale at Barnes and Nobles, and when they do that sale, I'm going to be ready because I've saved up my money for this, right? Well, you don't really know exactly when you're going to get a sale from Twilight time, because Twilight time is just kind of random. I mean, I don't know. This is the first time I've actually seen a decent sale from them, so I don't know. I think I've seen a few sales similar to them in the past, but nothing that really caught my fancy like this one did. So yeah, the recent sale had a bunch of titles marked down to $20, which is actually a really good deal. It's like Criterion release essentially, minus the special features. It's like a Criterion release in that the pricing structure is the same, so you could expect to spend $30 or more for a Twilight time release. And the thing about them is, as I've mentioned in the past, they're all I think they're all limited editions. Maybe not all of them, but almost all of them at least are limited edition. Almost all of them are limited to 3,000 print run. So if you're not one of the 3,000 people that pick this up, then no, you're not going to get it. Either that, or you have to be able to pick it up from one of the 3,000 people who own it. And because it's so rare and limited like that, these not only hold their value, they actually gain value over time. And that's one reason to consider picking them up, even if you're not sure you're going to like the movie. Because the thing is, maybe you don't like the movie that you paid $20 or $30 for, right? But I can almost guarantee you that you're going to be able to turn around and sell that movie, even if it hasn't even sold out through Twilight time. You're probably going to be able to turn around and sell that movie for more than you paid for it. So that alone is like, okay, why are you not buying it? Just on the off chance that you like this movie, you should buy it. And that very much was the kind of thought process that I went through when I decided to pick these up. On top of the whole, this is a limited sale. They're not going to have this kind of sale every day. $20 is a really good deal for a Twilight time release. You almost never see that kind of deal, so gotta go for it when you can. That being said, the first thing that I picked up was kind of a mistake, but a happy mistake. First thing I picked up here was Shadows and Fog. It is a Woody Allen movie. Woody Allen directed this movie, and it actually looks really interesting. I thought accidentally that it was a different movie, a mockumentary that he had done. I can't remember what it's called. I think it starts with a Z. But anyways, I thought that it was a different movie that he had done, and I ended up discovering, after trolling or attempting to troll my friend Brandon about it, I ended up discovering that this wasn't the movie I was thinking of, and I had just paid for a movie that I didn't even know what it was. It's like, but then literally a few seconds after I went, I was like, alright. Because, like I said, the second I bought this for $20, I knew that I was like, okay, I paid $20 for this, and if I don't like it, I can turn around and sell it for 30 or 40 or maybe even more than that, depending on where I sell it, So if I don't like it, that's an option for me. But something tells me I'm actually really going to like it. One, I love Woody Allen movies for the most part. Two, this has a really cool, interesting premise. Woody Allen's oxymoronic German expressionist comedy. If you watched my movie marathon, then you know that I dig some German expressionism. You know that I'm familiar with the concept, and I absolutely love the idea behind German expressionism, and the very idea that there is a movie in this came out in 1991 that follows in the footsteps of German Expressionism, to me is just like, wow, I never even knew about that. That's fucking awesome, right? But then to know that it's kind of like a parody or a pastiche kind of movie from Woody Allen, and it was done during a time when he was doing a lot of great stuff. I mean, I have high hopes for that already, right? But then I follow along here. Shadows and Fog features an impressive array of stars, including Mia Farrow, John Malkovich, Donald Pleasance, Kathy Bates. By the way, Kathy Bates, I hope she gets better soon. I am praying for her, so to speak. Jodie Foster, Lily Tomlin, John Cusack, and Woody Allen himself as a classic, nebbish fumbling through a Kafkaesque experience involving a serial killer, a circus, a brothel, and a vigilante mob. Gorgeously photographed in black and white by the great Carlo De Palma, who did The Red Desert and Blow Up, and featuring the music of Kurt Weill. So, yeah, just based on the cast list alone, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's going to be cool. But then, you consider what he's kind of doing here, what it kind of feels like it might be. Feels like it might be something maybe not entirely similar to The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, but it's German Expressionism, and the very idea just sounds really weird and crazy and awesome, and I just can't wait to see what he did with this movie. I have no idea. I'm going into this blind, essentially. Paid $20 for a movie I've never seen before and know practically nothing about except for what I've seen on the cover and whatnot. Or not on the cover, but on the back. So yeah, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about this movie, but I know enough to know that it sounds like something that I would love. And so I don't really care that I made a mistake and didn't get the movie I thought I was getting, because ultimately the movie that I did end up getting looks interesting enough to me that I'm still happy I picked it up. So yeah, it comes with a little booklet that has a little, not a blurb I would say, but like a little essay about the movie. So yeah, it's only like a small 4 or 5 page booklet, but it's got some information about the movie. It's got some production stills. It's got the movie poster there. And then when you look at the inside here of the case, take out the disc and the artwork here, you have a shot from the movie as the background. That's pretty cool to me. Sadly, like many of these releases from Twilight time, there aren't much in the way of special features, but they do, as always, have the isolated score track and the original theatrical trailer. So, yeah. Shadows and Fog, I'll let you know if it's any good when I finally get around to watching this one. But yeah, anytime you pick up a Twilight time release, it is an investment. And I think this is a wise one because it's a Woody Allen flick. It's a lesser-known Woody Allen flick, and it looks kind of cool. So yeah. Next up, and last but not least, because again, I don't have a lot of money with me right now, so I can't be spending a whole lot of money, but I did want to take advantage of their sales. So last but not least, I picked up another black and white film, Birdman of Alcatraz. I don't know if anybody else remembers this movie, but I remember vividly, back when AMC and maybe it was TCM, but in fact, I think it was TCM. Because TCM still does that kind of thing. They still show movies like this, right? But I swear AMC, American Movie Channel, used to play movies like this and, not Poltergeist, Poseidon Adventure, and other movies that came out between the 60s and the 70s and whatnot, along with their, of course, never-ending selection of, like, semi-good westerns and whatnot. You know what I mean? You know what I mean if you remember watching those channels back in the, early 2000s, late 90s, and whatnot. But either way, this is a movie that I watched for the first time on network television on one of those channels, whether it was AMC or TCM or whatever the fuck it was. And I recall, discovering it while flipping through channels, right? And I was flipping through the channels, and normally, as a kid, back then, when I didn't know as much about movies, and I didn't really watch black and white movies in particular, I was not one to stop and watch just any black and white anything that happened to show up when I was channel surfing. In fact, if I saw something in black and white, I was more likely to skip it as quickly as possible. Although I did watch a lot of things like The Munsters, and I did watch like I Love Lucy and stuff like that, right? I grew up on that stuff thanks to Nick at Night, right? But when it came to movies in black and white, I just wasn't very well versed, and I wasn't very likely to actually watch them if I came across them on television, because I was a stupid kid, didn't know anything about movies at the time. I knew I liked them, but I didn't know how much of a passion I would develop for them, right? So, that being said, imagine me, I'm sick at home, in bed, coughing, sniffling, got the whole thing going on, and Price is Right just ended, and I'm flipping through the channels trying to find something to watch, and I discover this, and I just leave it there for some unknown reason. Like, something about the movie is just capturing me, and I leave it on the channel, and I just watch the whole damn thing, and I'm mesmerized by it. That's what this movie is to me. It's one of those movies that, like, when I was a kid, when I was sick at home, this for some reason would be on TV, and I just, whatever reason, check it out. I never would have checked it out. I never would have thought that I would have checked something like this out, but there I was, watching a movie like this as a kid on AMC or TCM or whatever the hell it was. You know, I mean, it was interesting to me, and I should have known then that this was going to develop into some kind of a passion, my love for film. But I didn't really get it, right? And this is really one of those movies that I think falls under the radar for a lot of people, too. Because a lot of people know about Escape from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood. They know about other movies that are focused on this particular subject, but they don't really know a lot about Birdman of Alcatraz. Or if they do, they haven't seen it yet, right? I gotta tell you, this is one of those movies. You wouldn't think it, but it'll stick with you. It's just really well edited. It's really well shot. It does a really good job of telling the story, and honestly, making you empathize with the character. I love this movie. It's been so long since I've seen it too, and when I saw it there for $20, I was like, it's been long enough. I need to put this in my collection. And it's one of those movies, again, kind of like the Shadows and Fog, that chances are you're not going to see this on any other release. You know, you might see Criterion do a release of this if you're lucky, but you really don't know. And until then, until a better release or a different release comes out, this is the best you're going to do. And this is limited to 3,000 pieces, so if you don't get it while you can, you might not ever get it. Or if you do, it's going to cost you between like $75 and $100 because it's out of print. Like, you don't want to run that risk. You really don't. And the really nice thing about this particular release is that unlike all the other Twilight Time releases, this actually comes with more than just the isolated track or soundtrack and the theatrical trailer. It's only got like one other thing, but that one other thing is an audio commentary with film historians Julie Kurgo, Paul Sador, and Nick Redman. So, you know, that's pretty cool. They actually went to the lengths of doing another special feature for this release. I think because they know how special of a movie it is. So yeah, very happy to have this in my collection. Wouldn't have thought that I'd be picking this up right now. And I didn't even know it was available on Blu-ray. I didn't even know that Twilight Time had this out. So when I saw it as a part of their sale, I was just like, oh my god. Well, that's a thing? I remember that movie, and I remember loving that movie. And that's one of those movies that's kind of under the radar. So it's probably not going to get a release anywhere else. the value of this Blu-ray is going to be very high, more than likely, and it's a movie that I remember enjoying. There you go. That's that for me. Plus the audio commentary was like the selling factor for this particular Blu-ray. And like with the other one, it has a nice little booklet here with an essay here. I don't know who did the essay, but yeah, it's very nice. And on the back you get the artwork, or the poster artwork. Sadly, there's no artwork on the inside cover, but I mean, what are you gonna do? At least you got the commentary, right? Oops, sorry. Yeah. There, that's what the back looks like. So yeah, limited edition of 3,000 units. If you're going to want something like this, if you're going to want this in your collection, then you're probably going to want to pick it up sooner than later. That's the way they do things at Twilight Time. And a lot of people don't like that, and I understand. I don't begrudge people that, right? I have friends who don't like Twilight Time because they do that, and because it makes it more difficult to pick up their releases and all that. And I understand why Twilight Time does it too. Like, that's the only deal they can get from the studios, right? That's the reason they get these titles, because they tell the studios, well, we're going to do a 3,000 print run. I mean, when it's something like that, it's like, well, if it's just a 3,000 print run, you know, gotta figure they're probably going to be more likely to, you know, say yes to something like that. And I think the reason is that the studios know, just as well as Twilight Time knows, that the more limited you make something, the more it will hold its value, and the more willing people will be to pay a higher price tag for it. So, you know, it's a win-win for everybody involved, essentially. For people who really want these less notable releases that probably aren't going to come to Blu-ray any other way, for the studios who want to make money off of these releases, but they don't want to do their own release, and they don't want something that's going to drop in value significantly to the point where nobody's going to buy it, and nobody's going to pay full price for it, and all that stuff that they have to worry about with, you know, with their catalog titles, essentially. And then Twilight Time wins out because they get full asking price, and their products hold their value very well. So, I mean, it's a win for everybody involved, except for the fact that if you don't get it while it's available as a collector, you're going to have to pay a higher price tag when it's not available, buying it from another collector who is graciously selling it, you know? So, or hopefully maybe you just run across somebody who doesn't know what they have. Rare, doesn't always happen, but when it does, them's the days, am I right? Them's are the good days of your lives. So yeah, I'm very happy with these pickups. I felt like I made quite a steal, $20 each. And then the shipping on them was only $5 for both of them, which is actually lower, I think, than it would have been going through Screen Archives to get these. So I'm probably going to be buying my Twilight Time releases directly from Twilight Time in the future, especially considering that I ordered these like last week and they arrived maybe 4 or 5 days after I ordered them. I mean, that's pretty damn good turnaround for something that's not like 2-day or 3-day shipping, right? It's essentially regular shipping, and it arrived on my doorstep a few days after I ordered it. That's really good. So, yeah, I'm very happy with this pickup. So, yeah, that will do it for me. That's all I picked up. That's it. That's my pickups for this week. I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, but I'm going to talk about some tomorrow, alright? I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk, because I've noted that you guys like my talks. Alright, well, that will do it for me today. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later. Peace.